Hi everyone, this is my Mythic Sisters of the Moon boss fight guide from the Tomb of Sargeras. This fight is very frustrating, but I'm going to break it down, show you the positioning. The hardest part is Phase 1, Phase 2, and Phase 3 as a tank's kind of easy. But for talents, I used Abyssal Strike, Razor Spikes probably would be okay here. Fallout, Flame Crash Fracture, Concentrated Sigils, Spirit Bomb, and then I took Demonic Infusion. This is for Phase 2, because I solo tanked most of Phase 2. Soul Barrier would be okay, not too great, but would be okay. Last Resort only if you're going to die, and honestly tank deaths on this fight is not that hard. It's not that bad, so it's not really needed, in my opinion. Gear-wise, 2-piece tier 20. Highly recommended. 5% DR is huge. Dark Moon card, also highly recommended. The legendaries, I ran with the Archmon's Hatred Reborn and the Oblivion's Embrace. Other legendaries that would be okay for this fight would be Prides, always a solid choice. You could run with Cloak of Fell Flames. I would not put this as A tier, maybe B tier. The damage in Phase 3 is a lot of magic, so this could be useful. If you're looking for damage, then the belt is always a good choice. The boots is an okay choice, nothing great, because during Phase 2 there'll be some cleave on the Moon Talon, so this would be okay, not fantastic. There are no interrupts, so Sephuz is not good. And Fragment of the Betrayers, if you don't have the other ones listed, this would be okay as well. Consumables, I would run with, this guy's creeping on me, Agility Flask, Agility Food from the Feast, and Potion of Prolonged Power, or Old Wars are fine too. So, that is what I recommend. Let's go ahead and take a look at the video. Alright, so here we are. First thing to understand is proper positioning. We broke down the room into halves. So we have 3 on one side and 3 on the left side. So 3 right, 3 left. Then we break down groups. So there's 4 people on the far outside marker. So it's 4, then 2, then 4, 4, 2, 4. Basically, to understand how this fight works, we have to understand like how to deal with this debuff. Basically, as the eclipse on the floor starts passing, and when you traverse the eclipse, you get a debuff that does damage. And if you do it again before the debuff wears off, you get another stack for more damage. So one of the biggest goals of this fight is to control the amount of debuffs you have. You almost never want to go over 5. So basically, by doing 4, 2, 4, 4, 2, 4, it's easier to control that. And I'll show you how to do that. And Phase 1 is the hardest part for tanks. Phase 2 and Phase 3 is actually kind of easy. So we assign the tanks to one of the 2 inside melee spots. We keep the boss right here in the middle. I'm assigned to Triangle, and my co-tank is assigned to Diamond. And I'm going to point out a few positioning errors that my co-tank did on this fight. But keep in mind, this was his very first time ever tanking this. Like, this is the only pull. Like, he was just recruited, and we went in and one-shot it. So he makes a couple of small mistakes, and I'm going to point it out to you so you can see it. But he does a good job. So first pull, it is expected. So basically, how we want to do this is during Phase 1, we tank swap on one debuff of the Glaive Throw, and you get a shield or a debuff on you, Discorporal something. So when that happens, the off-tank taunts, and then you need to traverse the eclipse to drop your debuff. Problem is when the glaive is thrown, it bounces to 2 closest people, and if you're on melee, 2 melee will get hit. And if it happens during the explosion of the debuff, they're probably going to die or come close. So what we do is we stand in between the 2 marks. But then when the eclipse goes to traverse our position, we have to go to one of the 2 positions to make sure we don't extend the debuff. So on the pull, we start up. I pull a Fiery Brand and do my Fiery Demise window. Let me just turn this down just a little bit. Okay. So basically you can see I'm positioned between both these marks and I'm DPSing. Right here is a little debuff weak aura I have. I can put that in the comments. We don't want to traverse this eclipse when this is run 4. So right now we have Moon Glaive, this is the debuff. And it hits me and gets me discorporate. And to get rid of this debuff I have to traverse, but I don't want to just pop it. I know that I'm not going to have to taunt until after the eclipse passes diamond. So what I do is I just go and I stack on diamond. That way I'm on a group. So he taunts, I stack up on diamond, and I stay here. And when you're here, do not strafe, do not move. The only time you move is to dodge the glaive that gets thrown out. If that happens, just take a step to your right and then don't move. Right now, the Moon Glaive's going to happen in 7 seconds. He should have stacked in diamond too, just to get on top of a group. Due to this position, oh, he went over there anyway. So right now he's on top of a group and a Moon Glaive's going to come. He shouldn't be here. He should stay on diamond with me. And then afterwards go back to position. That way he gets hit and nobody else. So right now Moon Glaive happens and just hit 2 melee. He didn't move fast enough. That's okay. Like, it was not a bad timing. Nobody is dead. We're okay. So I'm going to taunt and I'm going to position between the 2 markers. He just went over and dropped his debuff. That's fine. He could see that there's no other debuffs out, so he knows he can do that and be safe about it. Yell at the melee. I'm like, careful, don't get too close.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Alright, so one of 2 things can happen here. She can hit me with a Moon Glaive before this ultimate phase, and if this happens, the off-tank taunts and you just stay here. And at the beginning of the next phase, you have to drop it super fast and get back. She didn't do that, so now I just keep her. Incorpore shot, he should be over here, so more people are standing in it, including the tank, but he just stood there. Nobody dies, so that's okay.
Beware.
Now, the eclipse is starting again, and this is what I recommend. Don't have your first group traverse the eclipse right away. Make sure most people are topped off, because a lot of deaths later in the fight and a lot of our wipes is because the DPS ran over right away, right after a Glaive Storm went off, and people are low, so they killed people. So if people are at 3/4 HP, you can cross, otherwise wait. So I'm back in the triangle area, waiting for my glaive to come through. The off-tank is now stacked in a group where he should be. Can't see him right now. Alright, so I have a choice. I can go to diamond and get there super fast, so I can take off my debuff here, or I can go to triangle. It doesn't matter, because I know the eclipse is going to go past the triangle before I have to taunt again. So I choose to go to triangle. I'm bad. I'm gonna eat that glaive. Alright, so now we wait until his glaive and then we taunt. So he's glaive, I taunt. And see him there? He went and he, at the last second, crossed that line to drop his debuff before the ultimate phase. So if there's time like this, you have to cross it.
Beware.
4, 3, 2, 1.
So it's the next ultimate phase. Just stand in the line if possible. Alright, so I got Moonglaive, and now what's going to happen is I'm looking at the debuffs. I know the first group is now crossing. I cannot cross until these debuffs fall off. So now I'm waiting. I'm watching. Alright, nobody's here. I go. Now I wait.
Beware.
And when it's... Oh! See what happened? We're at 4 stacks. And I thought it was going to drop off because it should have dropped off. Nobody's crossing at 4 stacks. And since it was about ready to cross, I thought it was going to be fine. So I leapt too early and got 6 stacks. That can kill people. So I would say the person who crossed before me was at 70% fault, because they should have known better not to cross until that drops off, because they can see it's 4 and you shouldn't be crossing at 4. And I'll say about 30% to blame. So he's going to get the glaive. He should already be in the triangle position because the glaive should get cast before the eclipse gets here. But let's find out. Yeah, so he should be right here, not right there. He's going to hit melee here. I'm going to taunt. I'm going to sidestep that glaive, and then you don't move. Alright, so phase 2 starts. Now this is easy, because now all you do is you stand on your marker the entire time. You don't move except for Glaive Storm. So I tank her for the majority of the time here. I just chain my cooldowns together. Demon Hunters do more damage if they're taking damage. So while I'm able to, what I do is I tank for as long as possible, because that increases the raid damage. The DK doesn't need to take damage to do damage, as far as I'm aware. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But they're all based on haste and just cooldowns of the runes and runic power. So the longer I can tank him, or tank her I suppose, the more damage I do, the more raid damage. So the ultimate is starting, and right here is the priestess who's going to throw the giant glaive out. Our job is to get through it as quickly as possible. If you're going to wipe in phase 2 or phase 3, it's going to be due to Glaive Storm. So at this stage, you can run the boss anywhere you need to get away from it. And if you move the boss, melee will follow you, and hopefully not also get hit. So there's the big glaive. I was going to shatter once, and this is perfect.
Beware.
And this is like one of the perfect scenarios. Almost never happens. I didn't have to move anywhere. So entire phase 2, you stay stacked on your symbol, and you just DPS. This is the DPS part. And this is where the fight starts to get a little boring for a tank, because we really don't do much.
Beware.
So watch the glaives, make sure you call out the glaives for melee. Right there, you saw the melee who accidentally ran over the line to proc 8 stacks, and somebody died because of it. Because they saw that the glaive was coming through melee, so instead of just stepping back half an inch, they ran back like 5 feet, procced it, killed people. That's really bad.
Beware.
There's the Glaive Storm. Good dodge. Now see what I'm doing here? I'm running towards them and running through them. Because think for this, like, this is probably overkill, mind you. But we wiped so many times the glaives that anything that helps my group, I do. And I treat this like the last boss in Vault of the Wardens, where the walls, the quicker you get through one set of walls, you don't have to worry about it. So I run through these glaives, and then I find the open spots. So it's just easier that way to get through a set of glaives, and then you don't have to worry about that set ever again. Probably overkill, mind you, but ever since I started doing that, it made that a lot easier for everybody. Less people died. So this goes on into 40%. Right there, I see people are triggering the eclipse late. We're already at 6, so my group is going to hit it next. If we don't move, we're going to wipe. So we should be backpedaling until the debuff falls off. Just like that.
Beware.
So the next Glaive Storm should be coming.
Beware.
Find the Tigress. Dodge. That's another easy one. It's great. I sort of lucked out with Glaive Storms in this fight, it seems, because they just split up around us. Don't get used to it, because it doesn't happen often. At this point, I should be burning Moon Talon, because we know we're going to face her in 5%. So, the idea is, we still have a lot of time on the Eclipse before the ultimates happen. So if Moon Talon's alive, we focus it, because once the ultimates happen, you have to burn the boss to break the shield, or it's a wipe. But we have time, so we kill Moon Talon first.
Beware.
And then the ultimate should be coming of the Glaive Storm.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Beware. Beware.
Dodge, dodge, dodge.
Beware.
Alright, so phase 3 is going to start here. I had him taunt near the end, so I can get my charges of Demon Spikes back up. So near the end, I had him taunt. So I tank first, and we're taunting off at 2 lunar debuffs. I don't remember the correct name, just lunar something. It is magic damage. This is where the equipment Fell Flames would become useful. There's 2 off-tank taunts. And you just stand in the spot and you DPS, using power wards just to absorb as much damage as possible, or mitigate as much damage as possible.
2, 1.
Beware.
Alright, so in this phase, for the ultimates, what's going to happen is going to be the Incorporeal Shot and the Glaive Storm. Basically, you want to dodge the first big glaive, which is right here, then stand in the shot, and then dodge the rest.
Beware.
Yeah, this is really not much. We taunt at 2, that's it. So now it's just a DPS race. Lunar Beacons, let me just mention this. If you get Lunar Beacon, people have to jump out to the edge of the room, drop 3 stacks of Lunar Beacon, and then once all 3 stacks are down, then they move. If they hesitate and just start stretching out Lunar Beacons, it causes a wipe, because you run out of room. So watch Sam over here. He's going to drop these Lunar Beacons properly. There's 1.
Beware. Beware.
And he doesn't move until all 3 are dropped, and now he moves. That is proper position.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Beware.
Alright, so Incorporeal Shot and Glaive Storm. So I saw Glaive Storm coming right through the raid. So what I try to do, and this just makes it easier, I try to run through away from the glaive while staying in the beam.
Beware. Beware. Beware.
So it's just DPS, guys. Like, there's not really much to say here. This is a rinse and repeat for tanks. It's actually kind of boring. Stuff's gonna start going bad here in a minute. Well, it's already started going bad. We're down 4 people.
Beware.
This is the classic first kill scenario where your raid's dead except like 3 people.
Four, 3, 2, 1.
Beware.
I think we lose some people here.
Beware.
Yeah, people aren't moving. Let me mention we do 2 tank and 6 heal this because it's just easier. This is not a DPS race, so having the extra heals for this fight, it just makes it a lot easier to deal with.
Beware.
The next ultimate phase is going to be bad.
Four, 3, 2, 1.
Beware.
Alright, so we have the Incorporeal Shot, and if I remember correctly, this is going to murder everybody. Yeah. Then we're dodging the glaives. I got lucky because I wasn't paying attention. I was starting to panic at this point. My off tank's dead. Everybody else is dead. 3% left. So now I'm worried about just chaining my cooldowns together. Just stay. Oh, bad right there. But chain the stuff together to live long enough for the DPS to kill it. I think I get lucky with a Fueled by Pain proc somewhere soon.
Beware.
Yeah, right there. Alright, there's the kill. Nice and clean. Cleanest kill I've seen. But yeah, phase 1 is the only real hard part for tanks. Phase 2 and phase 3, you stand there at DPS. It's a little boring, to be completely honest with you. But that's the guide. That's the video. If you have any comments, please let me know. Ask your questions. Yeah, I hope it helps. Thank you for watching.